Alrighty, folks, we're now 3-0 in our last three $1.99 daily best plays on my premium site. We had the Guardians minus $1.15 yesterday. They got the job done against the Angels. And of course, chairman members had yet another winning day yesterday. We once again had the Guardians, Mavericks, New York Rangers in the NHL. And we also hit on a two-team parlay. And the only way you could access all of those winners is to join my full access, all-inclusive chairman package. And I'll explain a little bit more about all that in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today for Monday, May 27th, 2024. Happy Memorial Day to you. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. As I said yesterday, we had our biannual blast here at the Brock Page household, and I'll tell you, it was a wonderful day. It was a special day. We had about 75 guests here, and it was awesome. Friends, family, neighbors, co-workers. It was just a really young, old, really just a great mix of a lot of really great people. So it's been an awesome weekend, and we've been winning games. It's been a profitable weekend. For those who are joining me for the first time here today, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And once again, folks, we are 3-0 in our last three $1.99 daily best plays on my premium site. It costs just 6 cents a day for 30 days of service. And of course, if you want to unlock all of my premium selections, you may want to think about signing up for my full access, all-inclusive chairman package. Now, chairman members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast, absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. And I told you guys yesterday we were on a time crunch, so we were not going to produce a podcast yesterday, but we are going to produce one today. So if you sign up for that package, you are going to get access to the Chairman podcast today and every single day for the next 30 days. Now, guys, I'm 3-0 my last three daily best plays, as I said. I'm also 4-0 my last four crowd pleaser teasers. And finally, folks, we are 3-0 in our last three Major League Baseball tier package picks. And you know what? All of those packages are included with your purchase of the Chairman membership. The site is patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into some free content. Pretty good slate here for Memorial Day, so let's go ahead and get into it. Our first game is the Red Sox taking on the Orioles. A little AL East action here. 105 Eastern first pitch. Baltimore's minus $1.65, totals 9 runs. Cole Irvin for the O's, Cooper Criswell for Boston. And I'll tell you, Criswell's having a solid year thus far for the Bo Sox. ERA of 2.86, 1.13 whip. And these Boston pitchers have definitely thrown well away from Fenway. They're allowing fewer runs per game on the road than any other staff in the league. And out of those 27 road games this year, the Bo Sox covered the run line in 63% of those games. Tyler O'Neill leads the club in homers. Jarren Duran's got the most hits. And they're facing a Baltimore squad who cashed in on the run line in just 50% of their divisional home games. Did I say Boston or Baltimore? I meant to say Baltimore. Baltimore, they are cashing in just 50% of their divisional home games. Of course, that is with regard to the run line. And I'll tell you, as good as the O's have been at the plate, they really haven't been overly selective at the dish, especially at home. These guys are currently dead last in walks per 9 on their own diamond. Now, injury-wise, Whitlock and Yoshida are still out for Boston. When it comes to the total, the Bo Sox have gone 60% to the under in their divisional games. Meanwhile, Baltimore's gone 7-2 to the under against AL East opponents. Give me Boston plus 1.5, under 9. Next game, Royals Twins, 2:10 p.m. East. Minnesota's minus 165, total 7.5 runs. Joe Ryan for the Twins, Alec Marsh for Kansas City. And Marsh has been solid this year for KC. He's recorded only one loss through 43 innings of work. Now, the righties also got an ERA in the 2s along with a 1.07 whip. And that's not overly surprising. You know, this KC pitching staff has been fairly dominant. They're allowing fewer runs per 9 than any other staff besides one. And they're taking on a Minnesota team who struggles at the plate. They're a bottom 5 run producing team at home in the American League. Kyle Farmer's batting just a .163. Manny Margot's 4 points below the Mendoza line. And as good as Joe Ryan's been on the bump for Minnesota, he does not come into today's game with a winning record. Now, injury-wise, Royce Lewis is still out for Minnesota. When it comes to the total, the Twins' last 4 straight at Target Field fell under the number. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, Kansas City went 63% to the under against divisional opponents. Give me KC plus 1.5, under 8. Next ball game, Blue Jays, White Sox, 2:10 Eastern start time. Toronto's a $1.90, totals 9. Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays, Nick Nastrini for Chicago. And even though Nastrini's been pathetic on the mound, the White Sox are doing a nice job of cashing in on the run line. These guys are covering in 60% of their home games this year against the American League. And they're also facing a Toronto squad on the other side who failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 road games themselves. And similar to Chicago, the Blue Jays are having all kinds of problems at the plate. They're a bottom 5 run producing lineup in the league right now. George Springer's hitting just a $188. Dalton Varsho's got the most strikeouts. And even if they do hit it well here today, right-hander Chris Bassett's been lackluster at best. The righty's just 4-6 on the year with a 1.46 whip. Now, injury-wise, Jimenez, Robert, and Ramos are still out for the White Sox. When it comes to the total, Chicago's gone 60% to the under against the American League at Guaranteed Rate Field. Meanwhile, Toronto's gone 60% to the under in the road games against the American League themselves. Give me the White Sox plus 1.5, under 9. Next contest, Cubs, Brewers, 4:10 Eastern first pitch. Milwaukee's minus a $1.20, totals 8. Robert Gasser for the Brewers, Justin Steele for Chicago. And I'll tell you, Steele's been a bit of a shell of himself this season. He's 0-2 with an ERA of 5.68. Of course, at the plate, the Cubs are definitely having problems getting on base. They're a bottom 5 hit-producing lineup in the National League. And they're going to face lefty Robert Gasser on the mound here for the Brewers. Gasser is 2-0 through limited work, 2.65 ERA, 1.12 whip. And we are looking at a Brewers team who can score with the best of them. Milwaukee's averaging more runs a game than any other lineup except for one. William Contreras, he's 5th in the big leagues in batting average and RBI. Christian Yelich hits 320. And when it comes to the total, the Brewers have seen plenty of... the Brewers have seen plenty of overs at home. The over cashed in 67% of their contests in their own building. You know, the last video I made, actually the one I did for TikTok, I was wondering why I was like so high up, like I had to crouch down to keep my head in the thing. All I had to do was just lower the seat. Anyway, the Cubs, 4 out of their last 5 divisional road games got over the total. Give me the Brewers minus a $1.20, over 8. All right, next game, Guardians, Rockies, 4:10 p.m. East. Cleveland's minus a $1.25, totals 10.5. Xavier Curry for the Guardians, Austin Gomber for Colorado. And even though Gomer's having a great year on the mound, I don't need that. You know, I actually like this. This is more comfortable than that. Is it? Yeah, but thanks. Even though Gomer's having a great year on the mound, the Rockies just don't want to win for the guy. He's recorded only 1 win in 58-plus innings. And despite a good showing against the Phillies over the weekend, the fact of the matter is the Rockies just aren't a very good ball club. I mean, like I said, I know they took 2 or 3 from the best team in baseball, but they're still 14 games below 500, and they're a bottom 10 run-producing team. And they're facing Xavier Curry, who's looked good in a couple of appearances. The righty's got a sub-2 ERA along with a 1.07 whip. And to be fair, this Guardians lineup can outscore most teams. They're in the top 5 in the majors in runs per game. Jose Ramirez leads the big in RBI. David Fry's got an OPS in the thousands. When it comes to the injury list, Stephen Kwan's still out for the Guardians. Nolan Jones inactive for Colorado. 6 out of the Rockies' last 10 ball games did get over the total. Give me the Guardians minus $1.25, over 10.5. All right, next matchup, Dodgers-Mets. That'll be a 4:10 Eastern start time. The Dodgers are minus $1.55, totals 9. Gavin Stone for Los Angeles, Tyler McGill for New York. And McGill's winless through a handful of innings this year. He's 0-2 with a 1.33 whip. Now, I get that it's a limited body of work, not a whole lot of innings there, but they have not been great for McGill. And for some reason, the Mets just don't want to hit the baseball at home. Not really sure why. Maybe they don't see it well. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you this much. The Mets are currently dead last in the majors in hits per 9 on their own field. And, well, they have to face Gavin Stone on the other side of things, who's 4-2 on the year with the Dodgers with an ERA in the 3s. And, of course, as these Dodger hitters are concerned, well, all they do is get on base. LA leads the majors in walks per 9 at the plate, top 3 in the majors in road hits. Shohei Ohtani's hitting .336, OPS in the thousands. And Mookie Betts bats .335 and has an OPS of .974. Now, injury-wise, Max Muncy's still out for the Dodgers. Alvarez inactive for the Mets. When it comes to the total, New York's gone 63% to the under in Flushing, Queens. Meanwhile, LA's gone 16-9 to the under as the road team. Give me the Dodgers minus 155, under 8.5. Next game, Cardinals-Reds, 4:10 Eastern first pitch. Cincinnati's minus $1.35, totals 9.5. Nick Lodolo for the Reds, Lance Lynn for St. Louis. And, Lynn's been a lone bright spot for the Cards this season. This is a team who's having a tough year. But Lynn's certainly held up his end of the bargain because he's got an ERA in the 3s. And he's recorded only a couple of losses. Of course, not getting much run support. That's why, he's doing enough to win games, but he's not really losing games. It's these hitters that are losing contests for these guys. And I'll tell you what, real quick, when it comes to this St. Louis pitching, these guys have shown exceptional control. They're walking only 2.8 batters a game. And I'll tell you this much, Lynn could have another strong showing here today because he's facing the worst hitting lineup in the game. Cincinnati's averaging a league low 6.9 hits per contest. Of course, Will Benson, he's hitting just $1.90. Ellie De La Cruz has 71 strikeouts on the season already. We know Ellie's a great player. He's dynamic, but he's going to strike out a lot. And he's already done it 71 times. Now, injury-wise, Candelario and Encarnacion Strand, they are questionable for the Reds. Friedel's still out. Meanwhile, for the Redbirds, Contreras is inactive for them. That said, though, we're still going to lean toward the Cardinals. Give me St. Louis plus $1.15, under 9.5. Next contest, Nationals-Braves, 4:10 Eastern start time. Atlanta's the $2 favorite, totals 9 runs. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, Mitchell Parker for Washington. And as good as Parker's been, well, the Nats lost 7 out of their last 10. And they do have a losing record on the road. They're also having a tough time getting base runners. They're currently a bottom 5 hit producing lineup at the plate. Eddie Rosario's hitting $1.72. Joey Meneses just $2.26. And they're going to face Charlie Morton, who's recorded only 1 loss through 51 innings of work this year. The righty's got himself an ERA in the low 3s, 52 strikeouts on the season. And of course, as a team, the Braves do like to hit the baseball at Truist Park. They definitely see it well at home. They're actually in the top 3 in the majors in home hits per game. Now, obviously, for those who are concerned about the injury to Ronald Acuna, it's a bad loss. I understand that. We got a base stealer, guy who gets on base, rocket for an arm in the outfield. But just keep in mind, if it's any consolation, the Braves were able to win a World Series without him a few seasons back. So, it's going to hurt you. I understand that. Him, Strider, those are really irreplaceable guys. But if it's any consolation, if you're a Braves fan, they did get the job done without Acuna in the lineup a few years back. But I'll tell you what, as far as this year, it's Marcell Ozuna who he's been eating big. Ozuna's got the most RBI in the National League, fourth in the majors in OPS, actually tied with Alec Boehm for the National League in RBI. And Michael Harris, he's second on the roster in hits. So getting good production out of those guys. Now, injury-wise, once again, devastating news for Atlanta fans as Ronald Acuna is out for the year with that knee. I believe it was an MCL he blew out. It was a non-contact deal. It just gave out on him. And Sean Murphy, he is also still inactive. I think that injury has gone a little bit longer than expected as well. Murphy got hurt, in the opening week? And originally I thought it was the 10-day IL, but he's been on there for a while. Now for Washington, Lane Thomas still out for them. He's been on there for quite a while as well. 3 out of Washington's last 4 road games did fall under the total. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Once again, even though we have another huge blow to a star player for Atlanta, we're still going to take them here. Give me the Braves -1.5, under 9. All right, next matchup, Phillies-Giants, 5:05 Eastern first pitch. San Francisco is that right? I didn't get that. San Francisco is not, yeah. Both teams are -110. Pretty much a coin flip. I had San Francisco listed as the $1.20 favorite. That is not true. Both teams are -110. Actually, still a surprising price point, I guess, considering the Phils are not playing well on the West Coast over the past couple of days. But once again, both teams -110, total 8 runs. Blake Snell for San Francisco, Taijuan Walker for Philadelphia. And despite a handful of lackluster outings and some pretty bad numbers, Walker's yet to record a loss on the season. The Phils win for the guy. And I tell you, despite a few tough days in Denver over the weekend, as I just said, the Phils are still the best run-producing lineup in the game. Alec Boehm's hitting .315, and he's tied with Marcell Ozuna for the most RBI in the National League. And Bryce Harper's got an OPS of .923, and they're facing Blake Snell, who's been horrendous in a handful of appearances. The lefty's 0-3 with an ERA of 11.40. And I'll tell you what, this Giants pitching staff as a whole, well, they've definitely had their issues. They're in the bottom 5 in hits allowed per contest. Now, injury-wise, Ahmed's still out for San Francisco. Trey Turner's inactive for Philly. When it comes to the total, 7 out of Philly's last 10 gatherings with the Giants did get over the total. Because San Francisco is 7-3 to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Phillies -110, over 8. Next contest, Marlins Padres, 6:40 Eastern start time. San Diego's -190, total is 7.5 runs. Michael King for the Pods, Trevor Rogers for Miami. And despite Rogers' horrendous season he's having, the Marlins are putting together a string of good games. They're actually 7-3 straight up in their last 10. They covered the run line in 80% of those contests. And they're taking on a Padres team who plays their worst baseball at Petco Park. San Diego's just 11-18 on their own field this year. And a big problem in their home games has been hitting. The Pods are a bottom 5 hit-producing team in their own stadium. Ha-Seong Kim, he bats just .216. Manny Machado just .235. When it comes to the injury list, Xander Bogaerts is out for the Pods. Garcia inactive for Miami. Now, total-wise, the Marlins are 60% to the over against National League opponents this year. Meanwhile, the Pods are 14-9 to the over against National League competition at home. Give me Miami +1.5, over 7.5. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in that Astros-Mariners game. That'll be a 9:40 Eastern first pitch. Houston's -130, total 7.5. Framber Valdez for Houston, Bryce Miller for Seattle. And don't let Miller's win-loss record fool you. This guy's done a nice job on the mound. Miller's got an ERA in the 3s along with a sub-1 whip. Of course, as a team, the Mariners have won 6 out of their last 9 divisional games. They're taking on a Houston squad who still has a losing road record. They're just 10-14 in their travels, and they're a bottom 10 run-producing team on the road. Alex Bregman hits .210. Yordan Alvarez has the most strikeouts. And even if the Astros hit it well here today, they may not get the support they need on the mound. Strikeouts are definitely down for Framber Valdez this season, and he's got an ERA of 4.32. Now, total-wise, Houston's 15-9 to the under as the road team. Meanwhile, Seattle's gone 17-8 to the under in their own building. Give me the Mariners plus $1.10, under 7.5. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Give me the Red Sox plus 1.5, under 9. Royals plus 1.5, under 8. I'm 3-0. My last 3 daily best plays on my premium site. It's just 6 cents a day for 30 days of service. Give me the White Sox plus 1.5, under 9. Brewers minus 120, over 8. Guardians minus $1.25, over 10.5. Dodgers minus 155, under 8.5 runs. Cardinals plus $1.15, under 9.5. Atlanta Braves minus 1.5, under 9. Phillies minus $1.10, over 8. Marlins plus 1.5, over 7.5. Give me the Mariners plus $1.10, under 7.5. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to my Chairman podcast. And yes, we will produce one here today, absolutely free. It's going to be included with your purchase. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. I love producing free content. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free information, all this great free content here today. And with that said, happy Monday to you. Happy Memorial Day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/BrockPage.